Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, George Mason University proudly brings to you its premier movie review program that's out of this world. I'm the Dean Machine, Roger Dean, with Mason Cable Network and Student Media, and this is From the Cinema.
Welcome back, everyone, to From the Cinema. I hope you all have had a good week. All right. I am back with yet another review. It is, again, one of my favorite movie genres. And as you all may have noticed from some of the movies I review here and then also on my website, I love superhero movies. And sometimes they're overlooked, but I disagree with the concept that they should be overlooked because I think that they are amazing movies. And also, there's something special about a movie that is hyped up and then lives up to that hype and more. There's something even more special about a movie that makes you rethink the entire series. Now, almost everyone knows that I'm a huge Marvel fan, but let's talk about this movie. If you want to catch up on the movies that precede this movie, you can check those out on my blog. They're all on DVD. You can check them out that way too. But I also want to give a shout out to my friend Kev Costner and then my other friend David Blumenthal for joining me on this cinematic adventure. So in case you were curious, I am reviewing Ant-Man. Ant-Man 2015 held its world premiere in Los Angeles on June 29th, 2015. And was released in North America on July 17, 2015 in 3D and IMAX 3D. It is an American superhero film based on the Marvel comic characters of the same name. Ant-Man, Scott Lang, and Hank Pym are the characters' names. Alright, so before I get to this movie's plot or anything else in depth, I have to give you the basics and obvious background. This movie is produced by Marvel Studios and distributed by Walt Disney Studio Motion Pictures. It is the 12th installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU. This universe is amazing and I love it. I get to live in my world and theirs. So just take a side note. Thanks to the MCU, superheroes are taking over the entertainment world and they're taking it over by storm. Marvel is owned by Disney, thus has a lot of almost an unlimited amount of inexhaustible funds to make movies. DC doesn't have Disney, but they do have Warner Brothers Pictures, who is another giant out there in their own right. And some would say that popular culture is being overly saturated with superheroes, but I have no problem with it. I actually am quite fine with it, actually. I actually, personally, really don't think it's enough. I agree with Thor. Trust me, we are going to have another, and another, and more, and more. Marvel has had their reign intact unopposed. Now, I believe DC is up to bat. Their big movie will help them start the DC Cinematic Universe, which I believe they are calling the DC Extended Universe, the DCEU. And it will shock the world with Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice in 2016. However, Marvel currently still reigns supreme. Of course. The film was directed by Peyton Reed. He is best known for directing the comedy films Yes Man, Bring It On, and The Breakup. The screenplay was written by Edgar Wright, Joe Cornish, Adam McKay, and Paul Rudd. The main character wants to help write the movie. What is happening? Doesn't he know he can't do everything? A good part of this movie was that it is kind of an ensemble cast, and so I will break down the cast in a similar way I've broken down similar movies below. So here's the plot in a nutshell. Lang must help defend Dr. Pym's Ant-Man technology and plot a heist with worldwide ramifications. So there's some stealing, there's some law breaking, some pretty cool stuff. The cast stars the following people. Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, Ant-Man, the irredeemable Ant-Man. Scott Lang is a former employee of a major corporation and a serious petty criminal. Yes, that is a thing. It is a very reputable profession in the crime world, I'm sure. He has advanced training and expertise in electronics, having earned an electronics technician certificate, plus, additional advanced electronics training. He also received while he was in prison. But he is who acquires the suit that allows him to shrink in size but increase in strength. I will talk about the suit soon, but as a character, he is probably the most relatable character in the MCU as the main superhero. He has problems like everyone else, opposed to, the out-of-the-world problems that a lot of the Avengers have. He is just a normal guy trying to redeem himself. He is just trying to create a new life for himself and find redemption from his past mistakes. He is also one of the funniest characters in the entire MCU. His delivery of lines and passion behind his actions are refreshing to see come from a new type of hero. If you like Rudd in this movie, you are in luck because Rudd signed a multi-film contract with Marvel, with Feige saying it was a 3-film plus feature. He's going to appear in about 3 or more films. This character has been compared by Peyton Reed to George Clooney's character, Danny Ocean in Ocean's 11. Never seen that movie, but maybe he's right. You may have seen Rudd in his other movies. If you like comedies, he's in a lot of those. He's known for his roles in the film Clueless, 1995, Wet Hot American Summer, 2001, Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, 2004, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, 2005, Knocked Up, 2007, Role Models, 2008, I Love You, Man, 2009, This Is 40, 2012, and Anchorman 2, The Legend Continues, 2013. Next is Michael Douglas as Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man for the Strategic, Homeland, Intervention, Enforcement, and Logistics Division, SHIELD. This character is a former SHIELD agent, entomologist, and physicist who became the original Ant-Man in 1963 after discovering the subatomic particles that he named the Pym particle. That makes the transformation possible by enabling mass to be shunted or gained from an alternate dimension, thereby changing the size of himself or other beings or objects. He later mentors Lang to take over the role of Ant-Man. This character in the comics has had issues. He used to be kind of violent with his wife. You can read about it, on the internet. But in this movie, he's a father and a husband who loves his family. And I also love that he's trying to make things right in his life. I like this character because he sees the power in Scott before Scott sees it in himself. In the comics, Hank Pym is a scientific genius with a PhD in biochemistry and nanotechnology, an expertise in the fields of quantum physics, robotics, cybernetics, artificial intelligence, and entomology. Douglas, however, compares his decision to join the superhero film to his role in Behind the Candelabra, saying, sometimes, like when they didn't see you, for Liberace, you've got to shake them up for a little bit and have some fun. I've never seen that movie, but it might be good. I don't know why people aren't fighting people to get into these superhero movies. I guess people don't want to make money. He has won 5 Golden Globes and 2 Academy Awards. As producers of 1975's Best Picture, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and as Best Actor in 1987 for his role as Gordon Gekko in Wall Street, and an Emmy Award in 2013 for his portrayal of Liberace in the HBO film Behind the Candelabra. Other performances include The Game, Wonder Boys, Traffic, and Falling Down. Describing Pym, Douglas said, he's sort of a Northern California formal guy. He's lost control over his company. He lives in sort of a time warp. He was always a bit of a tinkerer. He's got a lab plus a lot of other stuff in his basement that we find out about. He's certainly bitter about what happened with his company. And then he's also deeply scared of what the future might hold. Because he himself, after having gotten small so many times, it's difficult, like passing it on to somebody else. He looks and tries to find a guy that can work with and has the right characteristics, which is Scott. He is like an old Tony Stark. He likes to play with his toys. Douglas indicated that he would not be wearing the Ant-Man suit, saying, my costume will be hung up and Paul will be wearing it in a good form. Speaking of that, let's talk about the suit. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Ant-Man suit. Now, using a gaseous form of Pym particles kept in a compartment in his belt, Ant-Man has the power to shrink himself and other people and objects along with himself to the size of an ant and return to normal. Over time, he's acquired the ability to change size at will, seemingly without the need for the gas. So his cybernetic helmet allows rudimentary telepathic, communication with insects, ants specifically, and is equipped with sound amplification equipment, allowing normal-sized humans to hear him. So even when he's really small, he can still talk to regular-sized people. The helmet also has a retractable plexiglass face shield and limited air supply. Lang retained his normal strength and ant size, so if he's able to lift, whatever he's able to lift at a normal person's size, when he's an ant, he can still lift that. It has some special skills that I won't ruin for you, and it is not like Cap's shield or Thor's hammer. It is not, and it's not its own character in its own right, but you know who is it? You know who isn't its own character? The ants. Appreciate ants. Do you know how many ants there are? There are a lot of ants in the world. Just moving on. Now we have our female lead, Evangeline Lilly as Hope Van Dyne, the Ant Widow Woman, the daughter of Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, and a senior board member of Pym Technologies who helps Darren Cross take over the company from her father. She is a gorgeous and strong lead actress. She's like the Black Widow for this movie, but trust me, she is no Natasha. She has some nice moves and is a joy to watch, and her character is still hurt from the loss of her mother. She will be fairly important later on in the story, I'm pretty sure. Describing her character, Lilly said, "I was raised by two superheroes, so I'm a pretty screwed up human being. I am also fairly capable, strong, and kick-ass, which is wonderful to play, but the most fun to play was just how messed up she was from being raised by two superheroes. And the clear message sent by my name is that I'm not a big fan of my father, so I took my mother's name. I just recently noticed that. I thought maybe they just had her out of wedlock. If you like her." Lilly signed a multiple film contract with Marvel also, so you will see her again at some point. You may know her from her films, in such as the psychological thriller Afterwards, 2008, the war film The Hurt Locker, also in 2008, and the sci-fi sports drama Real Steel, 2011. She played an elf in Tariel in the fantasy adventure series The Hobbit. I haven't seen her in anything else, so I might go see Real Steel. I know it has Wolverine in it. Corey Stoll as Darren Cross, the guy who could totally be a psychopath. So, Cross is a former protege of Pym, who takes over Pym's company and militarizes a similar version of the Ant-Man technology into his own suit. He creates it as the Yellow Jacket. This suit is actually one of the original comic Hank Pym's suit. The Yellow Jacket persona is a heroic persona originally. They make an adaptation for the movie. This character helps show the common criminological belief that some psychopaths make great CEOs. This dude literally gives none about the care for ethics. If he gets rich, whatever, so be it. Whatever he has to do in order to make the money. So describing his character, Stoll said, he is not a villain in vein of, like in the vein of Thanos or Loki, who are villains that, know they're villains. Cross is a guy who is not that dissimilar from Michael Douglas's character, Hank Pym. He's a brilliant scientist who is not ethically pure. I think a great thing about the whole movie is that everybody in this movie is in those shades of gray a little bit, just not 50 Shades of it. Thank goodness. You may have seen him in the role as Dr. Ephraim Goodweather on the critically acclaimed American television horror suspense series The Strain on the FX network, as well as the Netflix original Congressman Peter Russo in House of Cards, for which he received a Golden Globe nomination in 2013. Describing the suit, Stoll said, "Darren Cross has a suit that is sort of the next generation of Ant-Man's suit. It can do everything that Ant-Man can do, but more. It's more badass, more militaristic, sleeker, sort of like if Apple had designed a battle suit. It does look cooler than the Ant-Man suit." Then there's also Michael Pena as Lewis. I like to call him the telephone. He is Lang's former cellmate and a member of his crew. He brings a good sense of comedy to the movie. I really hope you like him because he's really goofy and his antics, it's just great. But I like him, and I hope you do too, because he also signed a multi-film contract with Marvel for at least 3 films. He has some of the best lines in the movie, and you may have seen him in Crash 2004, World Trade Center 2006, Shooter 2007, Observe and Report in 2009, Tower Heist in 2011, End of Watch in 2012, Gangster Squad in 2013, American Hustle in 2013, and Fury in 2014. Then there's T.I. Harris as Dave, the driver. That's T.I., like the rapper T.I. He is the getaway driver for Lang's crew. Come on. I was surprised to see T.I. in this movie. If you want to make money nowadays, superheroes are the go-to. But nice tidbit of information. Harris stated that he had a blank canvas for the character, adding that he hadn't read the entire script, as he was not permitted to. He was handed scenes as the film went along, and when you do that, it's like a blank canvas. You may have seen him in ATL, 2006, American Gangster in 2007, Takers, 2010, Identity Thief, 2013, Get Hard, 2015, and Entourage, also in 2015. Then there's Bobby Cavanaugh as Paxton, the straight and narrow cop. He is a police officer who is engaged to Lang's ex-wife Maggie, played by Judy Greer, and takes care of Maggie's kid, who was also Lang's kid. This character is the guy who is trying to follow the book. He's trying to be a good guy for Maggie and be a role model for his soon-to-be stepdaughter, Cassie. You may have seen him in the leading role as Bobby Caffey in the first 2 seasons of the television series, Third Watch. The actor Patrick Wilson was originally cast in the role before leaving the film because of scheduling conflicts brought on by the filming delay. So I didn't know that one. There's David Dasmalchian as Kurt, the tech guy. He is the computer member of Lang's crew. Desmalchian worked with actress Isadora Gorestor to learn how to speak in his character's Russian accent. I thought his accent was authentic, so go him. On his character, Desmalchian said that he had this idea that Kurt was born and raised in a town even further out than Siberia, and he was just an amazing computer wizard who fell in with the wrong people. But he was obsessed with two things, Saturday Night Fever and Elvis Presley, hence the polyester shirts unbuttoned too far and the hair in the pompadour. I never noticed the similarities to those things until after the fact. Now, you may have seen him in Tennessee Williams, The Glass Menagerie, and Sam Shepard's Buried Child. So, there are characters that are more like cameos that I refuse to ruin for you, so go watch the movie. In case that wasn't clear, you can watch it, not really, you can go watch it this weekend. It's not in theaters anymore, but go watch it. Go get the DVD. It will be an amazing time for all involved. The way they show this alternate, small reality is fascinating. I would talk more about CGI if I knew anything about it, but I don't. I do know that unlike Rudd, who wore a practical costume as Ant-Man, Stoll wore a motion capture suit when performing as Yellow Jacket. Reed explained that this decision was made early on when creating and filming, with a real Yellow Jacket costume was found to be impractical. I personally have already reviewed this movie on my blog, and I think it's a great time. I reviewed it as a standalone as well as what it's like as the end of Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I think it takes a lot to introduce a character after the billion-dollar blockbuster of Age of Ultron. Come on, Phase 2 has some great films in it, and you can obviously see what's coming up next in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we continue to wait. This movie has a lot of importance as the end of Phase 2 of the MCU. So Feige has stated that Marvel put Ant-Man at the end of Phase 2 as opposed to the beginning of Phase 3 because it sets up a lot of the things that you're going to see heading into Phase 3. One of which is this mind-bending, reality-altering landscape that we will possibly see in Doctor Strange with Benedict Cumberbatch. It's going to be a great time. So I love this movie, Ant-Man. It was one of the coolest powers that I've ever seen on the screen. The guy shrinks and grows on a dime, and it looks so cool. Also, to anyone who says that these movies shouldn't be funny, you have never read a comic book before, have you? The score choice wasn't all that fascinating, so some points off for that, although it may be because I often, times see movies endings miles away, but even my friends saw it too. There are a lot of things that are really predictable in this movie. Some critics have said the following. Positively, led by a charming performance from Paul Rudd, Ant-Man offers Marvel thrills on an appropriately smaller scale. Ha, see what he did there. Albeit not as smoothly as its most successful predecessors. Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if that was a pun, but that was funny. Smaller scale. It has its rough patches. As of right now, it is my third favorite movie in the franchise, behind Captain America: The Winter Soldier and Guardians of the Galaxy. Those both were in 2014. Now, on the wrong side of the issue is Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times, who said Ant-Man is a lightweight, again, punny, cliche, riddled origin story that veers between inside joke comedy, ponderous redemption storylines, and admittedly nifty CGI sequences. They were freaking awesome, not just nifty. That's still relatively insignificantly like an ant compared to the high stakes and city-shattering destruction that take place in most of the Avengers movies. That is very true, though. Most Avengers movies are about the end of the world at, impending doom. There is nothing that serious in this movie. If it will be the end, it will come on at a later date. You don't need the Avengers just yet. So here's my bottom line. 1, go see the movie. 2, I hope it makes more money, really. I need that to be a thing. 3, so far it has only grossed over, $291 million worldwide. This is in comparison to the most profitable MCU solo hero film, which was Iron Man 3, which made $1,215,439,994. So, roughly more than $1 billion to $291 million. Come on, I'm gonna need Ant-Man to pick it up. The budget was only $130 million, and it doubled that, so that's nice. 5, don't lie to your family. 6, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. 7, ants are important. You can learn more about them here. 8, in July 2015, Rudd received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, so that's nice. 9, to get in the shape for the role, Rudd worked with trainers and cut alcohol, fried foods, and carbohydrates out of his diet. Rudd stated that in preparation for his role, he basically didn't eat anything for about a year. Okay? He took the Chris Pratt approach to training for an action movie. Eliminate anything fun for a year, and then you can play a hero. It's an interesting way to put it. Well, until next time, that's that. And that's the lowdown on my rundown of Ant-Man 2015. I thank you all for sticking around to the end of the video. As stated before, I won't give it a rating here, but I already have on my blog, which you can check out at rogersrundown.blogspot.com. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, emotional outbursts, feel free to reach out to me personally on my Twitter at DeanMachine2016 or on my blog, which is again rogersrundown.blogspot.com. That is all. Thank you. And until next time, do good things and make good choices.